The immortal John Hancock here, and thought I would have a discussion about, kind of the recent rumors about Xbox games coming to other platforms. It's pretty interesting. I have a lot of thoughts about it, and, these are just kind of internal rumors and circulation that, Microsoft is thinking about publishing some of its classic IPs on other platforms, including Sony PlayStation and Nintendo Switch. And I think this generates a lot of feelings and emotions. And no matter where you're at, definitely in the comments below, let me know where you stand on this. I'm going to give you some of my thoughts and have this discussion. And I just want to thank everybody for coming to my channel. And so I guess there's some talks about Microsoft possibly taking some of its intellectual properties, Gears of War being one of them, and publishing them on other platforms. And so I don't think it's all their IPs, but there's just a discussion. And you know what? First and foremost, I'm a huge Xbox fan. I've had all their hardware, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and the Series X. And you know what? I've been overall really satisfied with Microsoft hardware. They make good hardware. Microsoft makes good hardware, but for several reasons, they just haven't, climbed that hill and become super successful as in like number one. The bottom line is this console battle between them and the PlayStation 5. You know what? The PlayStation 5 has significantly outsold Microsoft's Xbox Series X for many reasons. And some people kind of point the finger about, really those console exclusives. Microsoft has been kind of light on those. Other reasons, you're going to, in the comments below, you can let me know. Anyways, I'm not here to say which one's better. The bottom line, it comes down to sales numbers. And you know what? The PlayStation 5 is the clear forerunner of this generation between the two. Now, Switch is kind of separate, and Switch is super successful on itself. So the bottom line is that there's two other platforms that have been very successful that don't have a lot of Microsoft games on them. Now there's Minecraft, and that's awesome. I always thought that was cool that Microsoft offered Minecraft on both the Switch and PlayStation platforms. But that's just one thing. Microsoft has many other classic titles that I think many gamers around the world would love to play and have access to. I think of like Microsoft Flight Simulator. I think of Halo. I think of Forza. Those are just a few of them, but they have so many more that I think would help them expand their brand. And you know what? The truth is just having their games on their platform, which is in third place, is going to limit how many people out there can experience and enjoy classic games published by them. I am a huge fan of some of their other titles. Halo probably being number one for me. I have a family member that's a huge Microsoft Flight Simulator fan. That's the only game he plays. And you know what? You might be a fan of Forza. You might be a fan of something else. Gears of War. Many others I could think of. But you know what? Microsoft recently acquired Activision Blizzard. And let's talk about Activision Blizzard, because Activision Blizzard is a huge acquisition. And Activision Blizzard games, those have a history of being multi-platform, especially Activision. And you know what? Diablo games have been on both PlayStation and Switch as well. So, it just makes sense, at least on paper. It makes sense that Microsoft considers that, because they spend a lot of money on Activision Blizzard games. So at least those games need to be multi-platform and moving forward. And I think that's going to happen. But looking at their own library, I think there's money left on the table when they don't consider taking some of their brands and offering them in other places they haven't considered yet. And so, there's going to be a lot of thoughts about that, because I know internally, at least at Microsoft, I guess there's a lot of debate about that. There's some people that are really resistant to offering some of Microsoft's game library on other platforms. And I think there is a fear, there's possibly a fear out there that it could possibly dilute, at least the Xbox brand. And, what does that mean if third-party game offerings are offered? And, does that mean that having an Xbox is no longer necessary? Here's how I look at it. This is my thoughts about it. You are offering your game library to people that probably aren't going to buy an Xbox anyways. And so, for me and my thoughts, I think it's just a brilliant idea to offer your game franchises to people that are invested in Sony and invested in Switch and probably are not going to get your hardware. And you know what? I look at Sega, for example. Sega is a good example of, while I'm sad that they don't make their own hardware anymore, they're doing fine as a third-party publisher. And I do see Microsoft in the long run possibly going that route. Will that make me sad? And on one hand, it'll make me sad, but on the other hand, then more and more people can experience their game libraries. And I think at the end of the day, it comes down to revenue and opportunity and growth. And I see that as a bright spot for Microsoft's future. If they continue to be outsold by their competition, Switch and Sony specifically, then I think this is a viable option. I don't know if they can do this option and continue to offer Xbox hardware in the long run. I think in the short run, fine. But imagine this. What if they went all in and offered like Game Pass? Offered Game Pass on PlayStation 5, offered on Switch. Holy cow, that would be amazing. Sometimes the bigger picture has to be perceived. Now, there's going to be a lot of perspectives out there. The Switch is underpowered, so it wouldn't be able to run everything. There would have to be some configurations with games to run on different hardware. There's a lot of that discussion. And, this is not for all of their classic IPs. There's going to be a lot of different discussions about what they're going to do, what they're going to offer. I think in the short run, they're not going to offer everything. I think they're going to test the waters, and they're going to offer a couple of other franchises outside of Activision Blizzard games and see how it goes. But definitely in the comments below, I definitely want to hear from you. What do you think about this? Do you think that they're going to do it? Do you think it's just going to be another rumor mill? This is not anything new. This has been going around for a while, but this could be different. Microsoft is continuing to struggle to get a solid foothold, I think, with Xbox hardware. And this could be an option to offer their games and a huge revenue stream. It comes down to money too. I mean, this is a lot of money we're talking about, and it could be a brilliant way of getting out their games to people that normally wouldn't be able to play them. So, if Microsoft does this, what do you think? Are you in? Are you supportive of it? Do you think it's a bad idea, and why? In the comments below, let me know. I want to thank everybody for coming to my channel. I enjoyed having this discussion, and I love having these video game discussions with you, and will continue to do so. If you like what you see, consider hitting that like and subscribe button and clicking the bell as I'm uploading videos every week. You folks are wonderful and beautiful. Let's keep it positive. This is Immortal John Hancock, and you take care.